Hey there. Kind of sitting down here in front of the car to kind of show you what we're working on. We've done some other videos with this car, but it's just tires. Just not enough rubber, for my opinion. I like big, fat rubber on a car. These front ones aren't too bad. We're pretty close on these, so maybe just go a tad wider. But the back, we got lots of room. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go ahead and measure to see just how fat we can get. Because fat is where it's at. Okay? So I'm just going to walk you through it. I'm going to do some, there are fancy tools for doing this. Yeah, I don't have them. So we're just going to use like a straight edge, ruler, yardstick sort of stuff. And try to see just how much rubber I can stuff under this car. And I guess we'll give you a little bit of a close-up on the rear of the car. And this isn't too bad. I'm kind of liking this. And the illusion, when you go with a little, this is an 18-inch wheel. And when you go with an 18, it tends to make the tire look more narrow, even if it isn't. You get a bigger footprint, which is great. So I might downsize. I'm thinking about going with 17s. Haven't decided yet. But I'm going to... I think I'm going to go down to 17 just so we'll get a little fatter look, a little slightly taller tire, and it'll probably not quite be as bumpy on the road either if we go that route. I just kind of want to stick with 18s because I can reuse these front tires, but I think we're going to go all new on this, and probably the same style wheel. I hated to get rid of these because they're kind of vintage Eagles, which they don't make anymore, but there's just not enough fat in the back, if you will. So let me give you a little quickie look at it, and kind of from the angle. And I'll show you what I'm looking for in the tire width as well. So just kind of hang tight. Let's see just how much rubber we can fit under this bad boy, or bad girl, or this car. Gotta get it. This is kind of the look I'm looking for. If you can see the tires on this girl, that's really the kind of look I'm trying to get. Just filling that back end with as much tire as I can get on there. Try to maybe get a little bit of shinage in there so you can see just how much there is. And that's really kind of the gist of what I'm trying to get, but I want it on the Corvette. And you know, of course, you know, the fatter the car, the fatter the tire, and I think there's tons more room. This is, I think we got 10 inches of rubber under this girl in the Vette. I think we can go more. So let's see. So you can kind of see what I mean here. They're just skinny, you know. Just need way more tire under this car. And if we take a look, just gonna kind of bring it over to here. You kind of see how much wheel well there is. She's tucked way in there. I mean, like, you know, like this much of my hand, you know, it can go in. So really what I want to do is kind of get, you know, from this angle it doesn't look too terribly bad. Let's see if we can give you more of a visual. There you go. If you look here, you know, there's a lot of space between the tire and the wheel well. I mean, there's just a lot. So we want to bring the tire out here so that we can get that big fat attack. And just to show you what we don't want, while it's great on this car because this is an older, more vintage car, the red Corvette we've been looking at, she's got some tire tucked in there, but as you can see, she's not really tucked in there. This has got the opposite problem. Tires they're a little out here, you know. But on this car, looks cool, got the clearance, never scrapes. I like it. It's got a good little hot rod look. But on this one, we just want to put some more tire in there, fill up the wheel well, but we don't want her sticking out. So yeah, this angle you can really see it. It's just not enough tire. So that's what this is going to be about. We're going to see if we can't get some more tire inside of the wheel wells on this car. Because Phat is where it's at. I do like these wheels, but unfortunately there's just not enough of it. So here we go. Now we're going to figure out how much room we have before we start hitting things in here. Probably the closest thing we're looking for is probably some of this stuff. This is probably my biggest obstacle back in here. So we're just going to kind of start measuring. The next thing I want to determine is just how much room I have for tire. Okay? So if I'm going to go here from the center, I've got roughly 17 inches. So that would be like a 36-inch tire. So we actually have 17 and 17 would be 27, 34, I'm sorry, 34-inch tire. So if I got a 34-inch tire, I could literally, let's see, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is 4 inches, I think. So basically, if I got a 34-inch tire, my mat's kind of in the way. Wait, my math must be wrong. We'll just do it this way. 30, there's 34 right there. So if I put 34 inches, oh yeah, that's be a little too big. My bad. Let's see, 27 and 7. And let's just do it this way. Oh yeah, the car's not, that's true, my bad. Oh, that would be correct, because the car is sitting too low. But from center line to the top, that's roughly 17 inches. So you double 17 inches because you've got half your wheels here, half your wheels here. We're not going to go anywhere near a 34-inch tire. Okay, from here to here, I have roughly 30 to have a little clearance. Okay, so I can go as high as a 30-inch tire. Well, we're not going to do that either. Now what I got to decide is if this wheel is actually centered in the wheel well. So to do that, we've got 15 there. Yeah, she's pretty darn centered. And 15 there, yeah. So she's dead center of this wheel well. So we can go 34 inches of tire. I mean, we can go, 30 inches of tire. We're not going to go that big either. Really kind of what ideally I'm going to put. And I've got pressure on the suspension, so this is where she sits. I'm probably going to go, I'd like to go about here. Well, that'd be good right about there. So 14 and 14 is 28. So if I went with a 28-inch tire, that's a lot of tire. Right? So we're going to go 28-inch tire. Might be a little too big. We'll start hitting up in here, I think. So we could do that. I think we're going to bring it down to like a 25 or 6. Yeah, I think that'll work. So just to kind of get an idea, so if I go 25 or 6, half of 26 is going to be 13. 13 would go to about there. That's still mucho clearance. So we'll go with a 25 or 26-inch tall tire. Alright, so let's go 26-inch tall, 26-inch diameter. Now anytime you're dealing with diameters, you're doing half. Okay, so 26-inch diameter is going to be 13 inches here, 13 inches down here. So and then 13 and 13 because it's round. Okay, so 26 is going to go in here. This particular tire that was in there, and we'll take a look-see at that again, was roughly 20, well, this one was 25, and that's too small. So maybe we'll go bigger, because I wanted more tire than this has got. This was lost in there. So this is 25, so maybe we're going to go, glad I did that, so maybe we will go 28-inch tire, you know. We can go 30, so 28 is going to bring me to about here. That'd be 14. Yeah, let's go 28. I like 28. That'll really fill her up. So 28, 14 is going to be half of that. So let's go 14. It's going to bring me to about here. I like it. I like that. What do you guys think? I think 28-inch tire. So let's change that 26 to a 28. So we can go with a 28 or a 29-inch tire. So we're going to go here. All right. I don't know if you can read that. But anyway, I've got written it. I got 28 inches in diameter, 8 inches of back spacing. I'm probably going to go 7.5, just because you start getting into custom width wheels and it starts getting extremely expensive. So as long as I keep it under the 3 inches on the front space, so if I go with a 10.5-inch wheel, I go with a 7.5 Vette, back spacing. So 7.5, 8.5, 9.5, 10.5. That gives me those 3 inches out front. And that's going to bring me right there. Okay. Now, if we get this car airborne and she lands and that tire bottoms out, I'm probably going to crack my rear quarter, because that's going to be right on the edge. But we have quite a bit of clearance. This car doesn't have a lot of suspension movement. You saw the ones on that red Corvette. They have never rubbed, no matter what I've done to that car. And I've had her doing some pretty high speeds on some bumpy stuff. So I think we'll be fine if we do the 7.5 back space. And I am going to probably go with a 17-inch diameter wheel, because I just can't find what I want in the 18. Plus, I know it sounds strange, but it seems the bigger the rim, the less fat the tire looks. And I really want that fat look. So to make them look fat, you go a little bit smaller on the wheel. I know everybody, the look is the big diameter wheels nowadays, and I like the 18s. I like the way they look. If I could have just got them come out a little bit. But for whatever reason, they don't make this wheel in a polished anymore, and the only choices I have that I found so far in a non-$1,000 wheel is black or bronze. And I won't tell you what my daughter said about bronze, so we're not going there. She just didn't like it. She said I was uncool if I put bronze. So I'm like, okay, well, we don't want to be uncool. And black, the car is black cherry. So if I did them the same color, now black chrome would have been okay, but again, I start getting into a $1,000 wheel again, and I'm a poor man. $1,000 wheels ain't happening for me. So I think we're going to stick with the 17, just like the ones on that BMW. And those are affordable. And so if I'm at a 17-inch wheel, which the wheel is going to be, what's half of 17? 7.5? Nope. 8.5. Right? Because 8 and 8, 16. 17 would be 8.5. 8 3/4. So if I'm 8 3/4 off the center, means my wheel is going to be right about here-ish. So let's make sure she's not going to rub. I'm going to double check on the wheel. We should be fine, but never hurts to double check. So we're going to go here from that spot, because that's about where she's going to hit. I've still got 8.5. We are more than fine with that. So I think we're fantastic with a 10.5-inch wheel on the back with a 7.5-inch back spacing. What do you think? You like it? I like it. So let's put this tire back on and we'll go to the front. The front shouldn't be too bad because we can lift the hood and we got like mucho measurability there. So let's get this wheel back on. Just FYI, the reason these look so skinny is I got my straight edge and I put it here. And this has even got an inch swell from the tire. And I measured, and she's got about a 6-inch back spacing, and the wheel itself is only roughly 8 inches. So it's only an 8-inch wheel. So that's kind of where our problem lies, is we've got an 8-inch wheel with 6 inches of back spacing. So there's a heap more tire we can put under this car. The originals, the original wheels for these cars, if I'm not mistaken, were 6, I think they said 6 3/4 back spacing. Back spacing is this, the back of the wheel. This way. Okay, back spacing is from here. Can you see my finger? Nope, you can't see my finger. Oh, wait. Okay, it's from here where the wheel bolts up to here. Okay, to this spot right here. So from here to here is considered your back spacing. So how much the wheel goes back from the hub. Okay, so that's the way you remember it. It goes back from the hub. And by the way, if anybody wants these, they're going to be for sale. After I get the new ones, of course. So anyway, the originals, which if you look at the engine, the white Corvette and the engine removal video, I'll make you guys look it up just because I'm like that. And you'll see those are the original style wheels. The original wheels are, I believe they said, 6 3/4 inch back spacing on a 9.5 inch wide wheel. So this is not even as wide as the original. And the originals were 16.5 rim, which is a really weird size. It's like a trailer tire, you know, because I think trailers were like 15.5 or something. Those weird half sizes. But so they're like they're 16.5 inch diameter, and they're 6 3/4 inch depth or back spacing, which would leave 6.5, 7.5, 8.5, 9.5. So that's given the 3 inches that I was talking about. So I guess the original wheels are probably as far out as you can get on these, because that would give you 3 inches front spacing. So that really would be. So they did their homework when they put those wheels on this car. I'm going to go a little bit more bigger, larger a diameter overall than the originals. But anyway, let's go ahead and get this back on here. Yeah. And then we're going to go to the front. Probably one of the biggest limitations. There's tons of room in here, but I've got the wheel turned as far as she'll go to one side, and there's literally maybe an inch that before it starts scuffing, and I've got about an inch, maybe a little more than an inch here before it starts scuffing as well. Actually, it's more, yeah, it's an inch. So herein lies the problem on this. We don't have a lot of room out here either. So we're going to figure out how much room we do have. So on this one, we determined that this tire, this wheel, had roughly 6 inches of back spacing. And so we've got an inch before she'll scuff on the side. So we're pushing it. So we're going to go 7 inch on the back spacing for this. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn the wheel all the way the other way, and we'll see just how much room we've got there. You gotta love packing onion steering, because it just turns so easy even without power steering. Okay, now when we do that, we are roughly, well, we got more space going that way. So our biggest limitation is going to be the front, and I've got a little kill switch over here that I can see is going to be an issue if I go bigger diameter. Although I'm not really unhappy with this diameter, so I may stick with this. So I've got an inch. Let me get my pad. We can go 1 more inch. So for the front, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do F for front, we got R for rear. We are going to do 7 inches of back spacing, max, right? 7 inch back space, Max, no more than that. Tire diameter, I think we're going to stick pretty much with whatever size these are. We'll get a quick measurement on that. So let me straighten them back out again, and we're going to try to get, I know if I go this diameter, I'm not going to run into trouble, obviously. Now to load the suspension, because right now I've got it jacked up, and there's not a lot of places you can get a jack in on these cars, just because of all the ground effects and stuff on them. So in order to load the suspension, I took that jack stand and I stuck it underneath the caliper. I'm just going to gently let her down onto it until the suspension settles where it needs to go. Now, okay, that's all of it. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tighten the jack back up and leave it there, because that's not necessarily safe. I mean, it's on there, but she's on a little bit of a taper, and she could kick out. So we're not going to take any chances. We'll leave the jack up underneath the car, but we have the suspension weight, all the car's weight, on that jack stand at the moment. And then we're just simply going to do the same thing we did the last time. As soon as I find my straight edge. There it is. Alright. So take the straight edge. We're going to do the same thing. We determined back spacing a little bit different on this. We could do it the same way, but you would have to turn this, determine the diameter of your wheel. There's a little bit more to it if we had done the front that way, because they turn. Okay, so by using the original wheels and knowing what the offset is on the other wheel, we were able to determine that we have just barely an inch to play with. So we're going to go only a 7-inch back spacing on this one. But now we've got to determine how much room we've got here. So can I go with a 10.5-inch wheel, or do I have to stick with a 9? Let's see where we got to go with this one. So let's put her in here. And we've got 3 inches here too, folks. So we've got 3. We've got a little more than 3 even. We've got like 3. Where is 3? Wait a minute. We got like 3 1/4 in the front. So the offset needs to be a little different, but we've got a little over 3 as far as room goes here, and we're going to be going with a smaller diameter than we are in the back. So we're going to use the same diameter of this tire, which turned out to be 25. So I might up it to 26, which will get me dangerously close, but I can always move my little dead switch here if I need to. So there we go. So where's my little pad? We're going to go ahead and write that down. So 7-inch back spacing maximum, no more than that. Well, wait a minute. The diameter is going to be, if I go bigger, because these are 25s right now. If I go bigger, that is going to bring it in closer. So we might have to stick with 25-inch. So let's go with 25-inch diameter on the tire. Okay. We're going to go with 7-inch back spacing, which we determined already. And then we've got a little over 3 inches, so we can go with a 10-inch wheel. So if we go 7, that'll give us 3. So we'll go with a 10-inch wheel. Whereas this one, we're going to go with a 10.5 for the back one. 10-inch wheel. We may end up sticking with a 9. We can go 10 though if we can find one. But 10.5 is going to bring us a little bit too far out, I think, because we can't go 7.5 in. So we may end up going, depending on wheel availability, we may have to sacrifice a little bit of fatness in the front. But I'm not that worried about that. The original wheels were 9.5s, and I'm okay with going back to 9.5 on this if we have to. But the 7-inch will push it forward just a tad. Nope, that's a lie. That was 6 3/4, so that's you're going to tuck it in just a tiny bit more than the original wheels would have. Not these, of course. So anyway, 7-inch back spacing, 25-inch diameter. Might squeeze it to 26, but I think I'm going to get a little rubbage if I do that. Just don't have to turn as sharp. I can always change the, if I want to put that bigger tire, I can. I can always put a stop on the turning radius. It just won't turn as well, as tight. But so 7-inch, we can go with a 10-inch wheel, so that we have a 3.25 inch front space. And now there's a little bit more to this, because a lot of wheels are sold with what they call offset, and offset is way more confusing. I don't know why they do it that way, because it's super confusing. Offset is the center of the wheel. So if you take a 10-inch wheel at 5-inch, 5 inch is going to be your center. Okay? Now you move the center of the wheel forward or back, and you'll have positive or negative offset from here. Okay? And it's confusing as heck. So what I do is I find out my back spacing and my front spacing like we just did. And I found a chart online, and I will share that with you all. There's a chart online that will convert your spacing. So what you'll do is it's got, I think, 3 little thingies, and thingies, that's a technical term, by the way, thingies. And you will put in your back spacing, and then it'll convert the back spacing to offset for you. So if you're buying wheels that they only give you offset, you can say, okay, I need so many inches, or so many percentage of it, how many inches or partial inches or whatever, or millimeters. You got to do that conversion too. I think this chart has both, and it'll tell you what your offset needs to be, but it doesn't tell you negative or positive, I don't think. So that's the only confusing issue. Personally, I like companies that I can give, and you can always call the company, and this is what I did. Call the company, tell them I need so much back spacing, and they're able to calculate it for you. Better off that way. That way, if it is screwed up, it's their fault, not yours. But if you know your back spacing, you can usually figure it out. This particular car, on this one, I've got a little over 3, about 3.25 inches before I hit here. I've got plenty of room for that. But I've only got, because we determined with your other wheels, which only had 6 inches, that I don't have much room there. I think, like I said, the original ones had 6.5 back, or 6.75 back spacing, which those must be dangerously close to that firewall, to that fender well. So we're going to be just basically tickling that measurement on these, but I think we're good. So we determined 28-inch diameter on the rear with up to an 8-inch back spacing, but I think the only availability on the wheel, we're probably going to go 7.5. That'll be close enough. 2.5 to 3 inches front spacing, so we're going to try to squeeze 3 inches of front spacing, so that we're going to squeeze a total of a 10.5-inch wheel back there. And on the fronts, we are limited to a 7-inch back spacing max, so we're going to go with a 7-inch back spacing. As much front spacing, we can go as far as 3 inches on the front, and we're going to try to see if we can't find a wheel that matches that description. And we're going to go with a maximum tire size of 26. I'm probably going to stick with around 25, because these are 25s and they're a little bit worn. So a 26 that's not worn is probably going to be pushing it, and I might end up in my fender well with it. So we might stick with 25, because with new tread on them, I'm going to be pretty close in here. And I don't mind the look of these wheels on here, as far as diameter goes and fitment and all that. And even the thickness doesn't scare me too bad on the front, but it'll handle a lot better with more rubber. More rubber is better. So anyway, that's pretty much this part. I am going to take you inside, show you that conversion chart, and what I'll do is, I don't know if this camera is going to do that. I think I'll try. But basically, maybe if worse comes to worse, I will at least put the URL down in my description of the video. So if you look at that, you'll at least have the URL to find that conversion chart. And I think that will do it. But I'll try, see if the camera will pick it up. For whatever reason, this camera doesn't like close-ups. It just doesn't like them. So, but I will do my best. If not, at the very least, I will put that URL in there for you. And that's pretty much all we got here. But don't forget to load your suspension, because if she's hanging, it's going to look like you got a lot more room than you do. So make sure you put some pressure on there. And like I said, don't just leave this like this and think you're fine. You leave your jack under there just for safety reasons. Okay. This is do not do as I do. Make sure you run safe and wear safety glasses, because I wore safety glasses and the safety glasses broke my nose, but at least I kept my eyes. So there you go. They will definitely break your nose. Better than losing your eyeballs. Well, folks, here is the website I was telling you about. If you look right about here, you will see where the calculator is. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on that. That way, when I'm typing these numbers, you'll be able to kind of see what's going on. There we go. I think that is readable, legible, or however you want to say it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch in some of those numbers we did on the car. And we've got width right here. And we decided on the back we were going to go with 10.5, right? So we're going to go up to here to 10.5. And then we know our back spacing. We don't know our offset because, like I said, that's confusing. So back spacing, we decided we're going to go with 7.5, right? 7.5. Alright, and then just hit enter. And there you go. It all pops up. You got a 10.5-inch wheel. Your back spacing is going to be 7.5. And our offset is going to be 44.44. So roughly 44.5. And that's actually a fairly common wheel offset, believe it or not. Just about any custom wheel will offer that size for you. If you start getting into some weird offsets, then sometimes you'll end up having to buy a custom wheel and you'll be spending big dollars. But if you're like me, you don't have big dollars to spend $1,000 or more on a wheel. So you use this calculator to find something close that you know will work, and that will be that. Well, that's pretty much going to be it. Now it's just time to order the tires and wheels, and I'm going to hold off on letting y'all know what I decide, mainly because I haven't decided yet. But I will do a video, I promise, of installing the new wheels and tires and see if our measurements were accurate. Because if not, that's a lot of money, and some of the, well, I'm going to probably buy them from people I know that I deal with a lot, because I did talk to one supplier. They said, we don't guarantee fitment. So that means you can't send them back if they don't fit. Yeah, I don't like that. So I'll probably buy them from somebody that is reputable that I know, and they'll let me send them back if I'm wrong, because, you know, I make mistakes. The next video, I'm going to tell you this because I need you guys to subscribe. So if you've already subscribed, awesome. Thank you so much for being a subscriber. I do appreciate your support. If you haven't subscribed yet, do me a favor, subscribe. Helps a guy out. And I've got some cool stuff coming up. Because the weather's a little bit too cold for painting, both of these Corvettes are waiting for time to get painted. Okay, so it's going to have to get a little bit warmer. I'm going to try to get it around 50, 60 degrees out. That way there's not a lot of bugs. But there's, you know, it's still warm enough for the paint to cure. Because if it takes too long to cure, it runs. You get risks of running. Yeah, you can get drips on the paint. So we're gonna, a little bit cooler is good, but not too cool. If it's too hot, then the paint dries too fast, and then you get dry spots. Like they'll look dull. They won't be shiny. You have some control over that by using particular kinds of reducers, fast, slow, medium, but you only have so much control with that. So anyway, so I'm going to try to hit, as soon as it starts to warm up a little bit and the humidity's low, I'm going to go ahead and we'll get these painted. But until then, the next week's project, I was going to try to get it done this weekend, probably not going to happen. I might, we'll see. But the Gremlin is next, the V8 swap in the Gremlin. So please subscribe if you haven't already. And next week, if all goes well, we're pulling the Gremlin in here. Got the red Corvette off of the lift finally. We might even do a little quickie video on, you know, little tire smoke or something with that one. Been trying to tweak some bugs out of that car. You know, it's had some bugs. So anyway, the Gremlin is next. 75 Gremlin. It's getting a V8 engine. It's got a 6-cylinder in it that knocks like the Avon lady. But we're going to get rid of that yanker out. I've got all the parts I need, hopefully. We're going to put the V8 in her next week. So that's going to be a great video. So hang with me. Please subscribe. Thank you for watching.